Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Fire, and welcome to Best Women Gamers, a series where me and many women in the gaming industry talk about stories, experiences with gaming, future dream goals, and more. Women don't get the recognition that they so rightfully deserve in this industry, but it's not too late to start giving some, so why not start here and now? Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell for more content like this.
Underwater?
This week, we are joined by Monstergurl, otherwise known as Fia Nala. She is a content creator for Team Sinister, but has played for Disrupt Gaming in the past. She's played in CCSWL, which is a women's league for competitive gaming in Rainbow Six Siege, and she wants to get more known in the competitive scene, having content creation be a kind of backup. I'm very glad to have her on this series. She was an absolute pleasure to play and talk with. Without further ado, I introduce Monstergurl. Who are you? Where are you from? And just basically any general facts about you.
All right. Well, my name's Fia, or Monster online. Originally, I'm from console, so I started on Xbox 360. Oh no, actually, yeah, Xbox 360. Transferred to Xbox One. Got that little upgrade. Then I kind of dabbled a little bit into PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, well, I didn't really like PS4 that too much, but I also then switched over to PC around that time. And I've just been kind of chilling on PC ever since. Originally, I'm from Colorado. I've only lived in not Texas. I'm on crack, sorry. California, but
Okay.
then we moved back to Colorado, so I haven't really moved too much.
How'd you get into like Rainbow Six?
Actually, I was on YouTube. I was just watching random YouTubers, and then I stumbled across, I believe it's cartoons, playing with his friend Omrecker, playing a couple games of Siege. And I was watching it, I was like, yo, that's actually kind of fun, though. That looks fun, because at the time, I've only had experience with, like, Black Ops 2 and Halo Reach.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw the gameplay, I was like, yo, this kind of looks nice. This is different. You can lean. Like, you can use your body. Who knew?
Yeah.
Especially during that time, especially in COD, there'd be, like, a lot of dolphin divers. So I was like, okay, don't have to deal with that. I think I'm ready for this game.
Before Rainbow Six, like how did you even get into video games?
So ever since I was a little girl, my dad actually would play video games a lot. So I would watch him. He had a GameCube, and well, that was fun.
No, hey, we're friends.
But
Pick me up.
I would just sit down
just gonna
for
go AFK this
hours
round.
and just watch him play on the GameCube, like Resident Evil, some, I think, Kingdom of Hearts. I don't quite remember the games, but after watching him and actually growing up, he started letting me play games. He let me play on his PC, learned how to play StarCraft, but then we transitioned over to PS1, and that's kind of how I started too, I guess. But
Okay. So how long ago was that? Like, how old were you?
ooh, when I started first playing games, I might have been maybe around 5.
Oh dang.
So obviously I was really bad at it, but I had a lot of fun.
yeah.
And I think he knew that, so. But I never started as a like competitive player. I just always played like casually. So
how long have you been playing Rainbow for then?
I've played Rainbow probably around, I'd say 2.5 years maybe. Most of it was on console. I started in year 1, season 4. So I believe maybe that's Red Pro. And then I transitioned over to Xbox, or sorry, PC. Maybe, I think it was when Bastion, when Mav and Clash came out, is when I started switching over. So
Okay.
it was pretty nice.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself more competitive, or you just do it for fun?
I'd say definitely more competitive. Although I didn't play games growing up competitively, I did do sports, so like basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, stuff like that, very competitively. And so I think after I figured out that sports wasn't going to work out for me in college, I decided to switch over and try to like mix it with gaming, especially since I knew that I liked gaming. I had a lot of fun with gaming. Just kind of try to combine the worlds together.
So, when it comes to like Rainbow Six, do you want to become like a world known pro or get even better, or do you just kind of want to stay on like the content creator side?
For me personally, I do want to be more known in the comp industry. Unfortunately, I think I might have been introduced to it, maybe like a tad bit too late. I do love content creation though, and I kind of have it more as a backup plan, just in case if comp doesn't work out. But for right now, I definitely say I do want to be known a little bit more for comp, and hopefully push myself to, who knows, maybe even be on PL one day.
So I saw you were a part of Team Sinister. How'd that go about getting in contact with them and everything?
So for Team Sinister, I'm just a content creator, but it was mostly just, I saw Priest make a post one day like, oh, we're kind of looking for some content creators, you know, put some people who you think would be like a good fit for a Sinister. And I was just like, well, I'm just gonna shoot my shot. So I just kind of made a reply back, and I was like, yo, what's up, Priest? And I'm kind of I've talked to Priest before, that tweet. So he kind of, I feel like, had a little bit of an idea already of how my content was, and how it looks. And so eventually he reached out to me, Beardo, and I forgot the last dude. And what's her face? Kippers. He reached out to 4 of us and was like, oh, if you guys are still interested, we'd love to have you part of Sin for content creators and streamers. So just let us know, and that's just kind of how it started.
Okay. How long have you been with them for?
I'd say for a couple months now. I'm still pretty new to the org, so I'd say maybe about 4 months now.
Nice. Okay.
So not too long.
Were you in any other orgs or teams before Sinister?
As a content creator, I was in Disrupt Gaming Community. I was introduced by Ken HD, who recommended me for the program, and then I think that was pretty kind of short-lived. I think that was only for 4 months as well, and I just kind of saw a better opportunity with Sinister, with more of the stuff that I wanted to do. So that's when I then transferred to Sin. Before competitively, I was with AK. Well, originally we were known as Brain Dead, and then we signed up with AK. And that's about it. Well, okay, no, that's a lie. I was also with Revenge Nation for a co-ed team, and then My Enemy, which was picked up by another org. I just don't remember the name of it, since it was just like a beginning org, so.
So you'd say overall you prefer to get more into the competitive scene?
Yeah, definitely for sure.
What do you like about competitive? Like, what draws you to it the most?
I think it's just the high level gameplay and like the new way of thinking, and it's just like a nice different world to play in that's not ranked, and you don't have to play the toxicness of ranked. With comp, it's like you hold each other to like a higher level of gameplay, and it's always like a fight to constantly improve and try to be better than you were, you know, yesterday and such.
Where you're at right now, do you have any moments or achievements that you're like most proud of up to this point where you've gotten with gaming and everything? Anything that like you're like genuinely proud of that like sticks out to you that you probably won't forget?
I wouldn't say it's like an achievement, but what just really makes me proud is like when I look back from 2 years from now, that's when like I started streaming and like content creating and like just like getting involved with the community. Just like seeing how much I think I've grown as like a player and as like a content creator. It's just like really kind of mind blowing and like something that I'm really proud of. Because like at first, when I look at videos from 2 years ago, I'm like, wow, this is super cringe. I don't get how anybody would like this. I would want to block myself if I could, but now it's like really nice because I'm like, okay, now I'm producing content that I actually like. You know, I'm kind of getting compliments on it here and there, and like I'm becoming a lot better as a player than I was even on console. And it's just like I don't have anything big quite yet, other than I would say maybe just getting like affiliate on Twitch. That was probably like a really nice achievement that I've had, but for me, I was just always, oh my frick, this guy.
Wow.
Just, it's just so much for no dolphin diving in the game.
Yeah, no kidding.
For me, I'm always wanting to like look forward to the next thing that's gonna happen and like push myself, you know, to just to be better, like as a player and a person.
With all of this, do you see gaming, either gaming or streaming or competitive, anything, do you see it as like a lifelong career? Is it like a passion, or is it just kind of like a hobby and you actually have something else that you're chasing after?
For me, it's my passion. This is like definitely something I really want to set my heart into. Before I was in college actually, and I decided to take a gap year because for me, like education was just not it for me at this point in my life. I just didn't want to spend money on a degree that I didn't think I was interested in anymore, and I just was not enjoying any of my classes. So I was like, kind of made a compromise with my parents. I was like, okay, like if I just take like a gap year and I just focused on creating content, because that originally I was only a content creator until I found out that you can be competitive in Siege. So at first I was like, oh, I want to grow as a content creator if I like put the hard work into it, if I prove myself in this, like would you guys be okay with it? So eventually, after convincing them for a very long time, they eventually gave in. And so for me, it's really something that I want to have as like my career.
Do you know Enzi?
It rings a name. Sometimes people just like example, yesterday I was streaming, people just like they were like, oh, are you the real Monstergurl? I was like, yo, people know me. And they were like, oh, you're dating Hot and Cold, right? And I was like, oh, that's how you know me. So sometimes I can't tell if people genuinely know me or just because,
Yeah.
of Hot.
That's another cool thing though, people recognizing you every now and then.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I hope I never get to a point where people act weird about it, if that makes sense. I really want to be somebody that people can feel like they just can approach and talk to as like a regular human being, not somebody that's like on this pedestal. I don't want the whole look at me, I am your content creator, haha. I just like I'm a human just like you. Let's talk about something we're interested in, or talk about our day, something like that.
Yeah, I agree, because it's like in a sense you lose touch with who you really are when you let that pedestal mentality get to you. And then next thing you know, you're like not really engaging with your fans, and you kind of just take everything for granted, and it's not healthy.
Yes, I agree. That's really something that I've put on myself as like a silent kind of rule for myself, just to never like let anything into my head because I know where I came from, and I knew, like, I know, like, even as a viewer, when I've seen people who've started to kind of get that pedestal mentality into their head, that's when I was like, okay, I don't like that as a viewer. So if I were, flip the role, obviously I wouldn't want to make somebody as a viewer feel like that.
Going back to like what your parents were saying with, oh, you need to take a gap year. My friend, so I'm not going to college either. And my friend, he was going to college because of his parents, and he just was not. He was over any kind of learning after high school. It just kind of burnt us out, and he I really wanted to convince him that he should be doing it for him, not for his parents.
Yeah.
And he eventually did. He actually took I think he's taking a semester off. But that's something I firmly believe in. You should not.
I feel it. Also, with I think a lot of things in life, if you force yourself onto it rather than doing it because you're genuinely curious, I don't think it's gonna. First of all, I don't think you're gonna learn as well, and you're just not gonna be interested, and then you're gonna face that burnout. I feel, and especially in a world like how we are shaping today, it's nice that we're coming into a society where we don't always need. We're changing into we don't need a college education to be able to be successful. There's a lot more options that are open, and hopefully just more people realize that there's options out there and you just don't have to stick to education.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of I don't know what you call them, generation boomers. I don't know,
The boomers, yeah.
A lot of boomers, they think that college is the way because when they had college, it was really cheap to get into it. It was super easy. You could get a bachelor's degree and be set for life. It was just it was a lot simpler back then, and a lot of them think it's the same way now.
There's at least 2 on site. Maybe 3.
They don't realize the struggle that we have it now. College students not only have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, they have to work while doing school. If they even want a good education, and then in order to even get that education, it's just so much. It's so time consuming.
It's just so much, I think, pressure for us versus than it was back in their day. And even for them, even if you tell your grandpa, hey, I'm getting paid to play video games, they're not going to believe you because it's that wasn't available for them back in the day, and it's kind of just a foreign concept.
That's why I don't want to go to college. I'm doing this specifically to prove to my parents. They weren't necessarily the most supportive at all, so and just people in general, it's hard for them to believe that this is something that you can get into. And even if it is a career, they're like, oh, well, there's 10,000 other people that want to do it. You're nothing special. And it's you know what? I'm going to show you I am something special. This is something that is, if you want it hard enough and bad enough, you're going to fight for it.
You'll do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's one of my biggest things that I tell everybody. People think that, since only 1% make it, you have a 1% chance. But it's not that you have a 1% chance, it's that you can't act like the other 99% that give up or they think you can't make it.
I would say even with that 1%, that's probably just top streamers, or top content creators, Shroud or something. But then you have another big chunk that are maybe who aren't as big as Shroud, but they're still doing pretty well for their for their channels and such. And I think it's just as long as you have that passion, that burning, whether it be just to prove people wrong, as long as your heart's in it and it's your true passion, you'll find a way to make it work. And as long as and even if there's thousands of people out there, every single person is still unique. We all have our different personalities. We all see things differently than each other, and I think that's just what's really nice about this field is just like the broad spectrum of like how unique it can be.
Yeah.
But that's also what makes it competitive as well. Like, what you got to find a way. What sets you out than other content creators? How do you, you know, grow from that? And 50 million other things.
Since this like is a huge passion of yours, I'm assuming there has to be some sort of role model that you've looked up to. So who would be your biggest role models, whether female or male, and they don't even have to be in the gaming industry, just in general?
Honestly, I have a ton of people that I really do look up to. I probably have like tens of thousands, but more specifically, like, I'll just try to go over this as simple as I can. Like, growing up, I used to watch Markiplier. I really loved his content.
Oh yes, he's my go-to. He's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yes, I loved his personality. I loved how much of a nerd he was, and that's kind of was like, if I was, that's when I was like, okay, I don't have to be afraid to be a nerd, like in my videos and just goofing around and having a good time. And that's what like really kind of started it off for me. I would say eventually it started growing onto like she's a COD player. She's not necessarily a Siege. Her name's Noisy Butters. I loved her positivity, and I think that's something that I really want to bring into the community as well. It's just like I loved her personality. Hello, preset C4. And it's just I think especially with like I think every community just needs somebody that's like her to hopefully bring positivity and make the gaming industry a little bit better. I'd say definitely for like the Siege community, your boy Roy was actually one of my first like role models in the scene. I also liked how he created his content. I really liked how how kind he was to the viewers, like how if you go into his chat, he makes you instantly feel welcomed, especially with his like mods and such. And his videos are just hilarious. He's got a great personality. I'd say more for the comp side. I say Goddess because I think she was a really great comp player, especially since she was, one of the first females along with like Luna from what was now Sinister. I really did look up to them. Like, if they can make it, why can't I? Kind of a thing. I think those are primarily. I also kind of like, even though he's like now my boyfriend, I also look up to Hot and Cold, mostly because I love his work ethic and, he's always pushing himself to be better. He doesn't want to, not do his team justice, kind of a thing. And that's always what I've admired, like hard work and just wanting to be better for yourself and for the team, especially in a team game like Siege.
So, you know that this game is not all butterflies and rainbows when it comes to people and comms and all that. So is there any type of toxicity that like you've had that at its worst that you'll never forget?
I mean, for me, I've always kind of grew up with toxicity, and I've just kind of learned to more take it as a troll rather than take it personal. Obviously, you do get comments like, I'd say definitely with the Siege community, like getting the comments like, oh, I hope you get, raped and stuff like that. Like, obviously, that's a, horrible thing to say, and, those ones are always, like, tough to hear. But I just try to keep in my mind, like, at the end of the day, it's just another kid who can't take, like, who at the end of the day, you can't punish him, and you can't do anything to them, to... I'm trying to think of a good way to word it. I don't want to say, like, punish them for saying that kind of stuff, other than, like, their mom giving them a slap on the wrist, but... On our end, we can't really do too much. other than, you know, hold them accountable. But
So is there anything that you think would help with toxicity, or any ways that you find dealing with it best so that it doesn't affect you?
I think just, you know, with this generation of like gamers, I think the more like these gamers are shown like this really bad side of it, you know, of all this toxicity, you know, hopefully they'll teach their kids like, yo, don't be, you know, a dickhead and say these kind of things. That's kind of like the hopeful thing. I don't know if there's like, other than just having your, like, you and your friends hold each other accountable for the things you say, especially if it's something that you say like that's definitely out of line. I think it's just going to be more of a thing that goes away with time. And more, and obviously more of a, you know, attention to it. It's definitely not something that we should be sweeping under the rug and just never talk about. So, yeah.
Do you is there anything you want to see, like, from, I guess, bigger people? Like, do you want to see anything from them, changes, like, in toxicity, especially when it comes to, like, sexism, for women, that you, like, want to see people, like, raising awareness for? Like, kind of weirdly worded, but is there any changes do you want to see?
I mean, I think that's kind of a thing that really sucks with, you know, being even a bigger person. Even if you bring all this attention to it, it's really on the audience themselves to actually do something about it. It's like the saying, you can lead a sheep to water, but you can't force it to drink. Or a horse, whatever animal you want. But it's really like, even if you're, I don't know, like PewDiePie, if you're bringing so much attention to it, you're still gonna have those, you know, 10-year-olds that are gonna be like, okay, don't really care. Why are you even talking about this? I just think it's a thing that, like, when people grow up and mature with time, it'll get better. And, you know, I don't know if there's really just talking about it, like, you know, I really do like how Spontaneous creates a series out of it, and hopefully that, you know, makes people wake up and realize, like, oh shit, like, you know, maybe I shouldn't be saying these kind of sorts of things, you know, online to other people. But, yeah, I really just truly think at the end of the day, like, even if you bring as much attention as you can to it, you can't really do much more than that. So, you know, I think if there's more, maybe like more content creators that were like spontaneous, or people who could do videos, maintenance, like, oh shoot, you totally scared me. I'm so sorry. You totally scared me.
You good?
I totally thought that I was on attack for a second, and I see this cabbie just coming up, and I was like, oh man. So I wish there was more like content creators who could bring more to the light, like how Spontaneous does it. Maybe not exactly like a copycat version, you know, still find their way of like bringing awareness to it, but being definitely more, you know, their own version of uniqueness. I think that'd be really nice to see. But I think it's something that we, like, if somebody's really trying hard to bring awareness to it, and if it's not working, I don't think it's something we should bash them for. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
it's just we
like
have to hold each other accountable at the end of the day.
Yeah, like you said, you can't always, like, trust that everybody that you're sending the message to is gonna, like, follow through with it. Well, I guess the last question that I have is if you have any tips or advice on streaming, competitive gameplay, handling toxicity, or just anything in general that you might have any tips on that you want to, like, I guess, help or inspire people with.
I definitely say for content creation, you know, it's always find what makes you unique and different from everybody else, but don't be to the point where you're not yourself. And always just make sure that you're having fun with it. Um, if you're not having fun with it, I think it's gonna become transparent in your content. And just try to be like consistent with anything that you're doing. You know, it doesn't have to be you have to post every single day and stream every single hour kind of a thing. You know, just make it consistent so that people know where to find you and people know when to expect like you're uploading or streaming such and such. For comp side, if you want it, just go for it. Put the hours into it, like study it. You never know until you try. And if you don't try your hardest 100%, then you're just never gonna know like what could have been. Like for sure, like Bolo at one point was probably like the shittiest player to even touch the game. But of course, after hard work and such, like, hard work and just practicing every day, eventually he got better, and look where he's at now. Always try your hardest no matter what, and follow your heart and do what you're passionate about. And especially when it comes to toxicity and trolls and such like that, don't take it to heart, Find yourself a positive friend group that's gonna be there for you for your highs and your lows, but you're also there for them for their highs and lows, and just celebrate each other's accomplishments and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's it. Do you have anything that you want to promote? I'll be putting like all your socials and stuff in the description and everything, so that'll be good. But is there anything that you want to promote specifically?
I'll just do the quick little Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, the Monstergurl, girl with a U, not an I because I'm illiterate. I also have a TikTok, but it's Monstergurl. Okay. Also root for Team Gamble when CCSW comes around, whenever it may, and that's about it.
Hell yeah! All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me. I really appreciate it. I think it's gonna be a good series for raising a lot of awareness for specifically women in gaming, and kind of giving us more of a voice and sharing how we got to where we are, and just like sharing our stories. I think it's gonna be good for the community to see.
Yeah, I think the series is honestly gonna be great. I really appreciate you having me. This was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Besides our
just us two on Villa, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was a little rough, but
yeah,
everything else was really fun. Yeah, and of course, thank you for bringing attention and light to this. I think especially for a lot of girls, some of them don't have a platform where they're able to speak on, or some of them are just really shy and choose not to speak, which is totally okay. But I think with your videos, it's going to really inspire them to hopefully talk out about it more, or just, your videos help bring awareness to it. And I think it's going to change the community.
I hope so. That's my goal.
I have faith. I have all the faith.